Welcome to On.Point, and thank you very much for joining us today for our latest episode. This is for anyone who is trying to build a career in the media industry, or like myself, trying to take your branding and your personal marketing to a whole new level, focusing on how you can improve your content creation. I'm excited to be joined today by Reim El Houni, who's one of the UAE leading media professionals. I don't think there's anyone that you'd find who's been involved in the key projects like Reim has. Foundation is from London, working for the BBC. She's moved to Dubai in 2007 and has truly taken the landscape by storm. Reim, thank you very much for joining On.Point today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you've got a lot of career highs. I know one of them is being the CEO of Ti22 Films and being an executive producer for Dubai One. But how did it all begin? Where did your time in media start from, and why did you choose that industry?
I think the industry chose me, to be honest. I've been obsessed with the world of film and TV since I was a kid. So I'm one of those people who used to watch way too much content and actually used to work in my local video store and just try to watch as many films as possible. And I kind of knew early on that this was a career that I wanted to get into. So what I used to do was watch all these shows, record them on VHS tape, play them back, and write down the names of every person in the credits. And I knew that the BBC was first name dot surname at bbc.co.uk, and I would just email everybody. And eventually I got a reply. I got a reply from BBC Watchdog, which, you know, for people who are familiar with UK TV, that's a very popular show. And I remember getting that reply and being so excited that I'd finally made it into the BBC. And then I arrived at Watchdog, and it was really fascinating to see behind the scenes of what happened on this program. And, you know, they really valued interns and they really valued trainees to the extent that they had a whole segment of their office dedicated to work experience trainees. And they'd only allow, because they had so many people who were interested, you could only be there for a month. So I remember my last day on Watchdog, and I was sitting there holding my BBC pass thinking, oh my God, you know, what if I don't make it into this building again? How do I make sure I stay in this building? And on my last day, I literally went department to department to department and just went, hi, I'm an intern on Watchdog and I'm available and I will do anything. And gradually, like one department after the next, well, sorry, can't help you. Sorry, can't help you. And eventually ended up in BBC Education. And they said, oh, we're about to start a new series. Can you do research? And I'm like, yep, I can do research. No problem, I can do it. And that really started my career because I ended up with BBC Education for 2 years whilst I was at university. So the first time I had my name in the credits was on a BBC Education series when I was 18. And when I look back, it all really started with that persistence and thinking out of the box and thinking, how do I get myself in front of people and just offer up my services to do anything? Because it's all about getting that first foot in. You get that first foot in, impress people, and then that's where that relationship starts.
I love that story. I think it highlights the importance of perseverance. And I'm sure you heard a lot of no's during that period, or people not even responding to you, but you kept going.
But that theme has continued throughout my career. And I've realized, I think once you've had a small win and you realize, oh, this is possible, it kind of gives you that confidence to keep trying and realizing that, you know, if this person said no, it just means it's not for them. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And eventually you get to the one that says yes.
Perfect. That's all you need is a one yes, like you said.
Yep.
I read that no actually stands for next opportunity.
Absolutely.
So you just have to keep moving forward, like you said. What would you say the key lessons that you've taken from your time in London, working for BBC, that you've taken with you to Dubai?
That's a good question. Not many people ask me that. And I genuinely think something that I learned in London is two things. It's such a competitive market there that you have to do what you need to stand out. You have to be helpful. You have to think out the box. You have to really kind of think ahead and have that great initiative to understand what a production needs, what a producer needs, and kind of offer it before they even ask, because you're competing with so many people. And I found that when I moved to Dubai, that level of competition wasn't as high. So because of that, the drive necessarily isn't as high as it is in the UK. So definitely ways to really go above and beyond. I felt that ingrained in me from the UK. I would say that's one. The second is working from the ground up. Because there's so much competition, everybody starts at the bottom. So, you know, in our industry, you start as an intern, you start doing work experience, and then you start as a runner. And when I came to Dubai, I found not many people really understood what a runner was. And, you know, for those who aren't familiar with the industry, that's literally someone who runs. You know, it's like whatever anyone needs on the production, they pick it up and they run and they get it. And, you know, I spent a decent amount of time running, you know, and I'd sweep a studio floor and I'd make teas and coffees and I'd do all of those things. And I think, you know, when you start at that base level, you get to understand the whole dynamics of a production and then you work your way up. So for me, I was a production assistant. I was a camera assistant for about 6 months. No one knows that I did that. So I actually do understand how cameras work. I understand how studios work. So the UK, you're given that base of like building and working your way up. Unfortunately, in Dubai, I've found that not everyone works their way up in the same way. Some people graduate from university and suddenly they say, I'm a producer, I'm a director. And I sit there saying, what have you produced and what have you directed? Okay, and they say, oh, my university project. I mean, it's not quite the same thing. I think you need that experience on the ground. You need to have gone through it yourself to really, like, I'm an exec producer now. I personally don't operate cameras, but I understand enough about cameras to be able to make the right judgment call. And I think that's a key thing that I learned from the UK is the importance of working your way up to understand everyone and everything in the ecosystem.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I think Dubai, in the time that you've been here, and even myself, I've been here for 10 years now, it has changed. And I think there's more competition now. The world's waking up to the opportunities of working and living here. How do you think Dubai has used the world of marketing, branding to help position themselves as a number one, not just holiday destination, but also a place to live and work?
So I think Dubai has done an amazing job marketing itself. I happen to be a member of the Young Arab Leaders, and I remember at one of the, we had a lunch with His Excellency Khalfan bin Hol, and he mentioned that every project that Dubai does, they're always looking at the ROD. And I thought, what's an ROD? And they said, the return on Dubai. So it's basically, you know, if they're putting in all of this investment and all of this time to brand it, to market it, they are measuring and seeing what was the return on Dubai. What did that do in terms of positioning the city and even the UAE as a country, you know, on the global map? And because they've done such a great job, that's why we're seeing so many people, you know, wanting to come in and be here and thrive here. But I also think it's the vision. I know many people talk about the vision of His Highness, but I've met a number of ministers and they all, it's fascinating to see because not only is the vision right up there with His Highness, it's gone down to the ministerial level, it's gone to the governmental level. Everyone really is trying to be at the forefront of innovation, of technology, of changes that are happening in the world. You know, with having a ministry of AI and a ministry of happiness and all of these things. And I think that when you're in an environment that is always thriving and wanting to be at the forefront, that's going to attract people from all around the world who want to be part of that change. And I really feel it whenever I go back to the UK. No disrespect to the UK. I grew up there, but whenever I go back, I don't feel like it's changed much in terms of people's lives. And they all look at me and they say, oh, you're so lucky. You know, things have changed. And I'm like, no, I got on a plane. You know, I got on a plane and I created that change and I worked really hard. And, you know, as a result, you know, things have happened in my life. But you need to be in the right environment that allows that to happen. And I think Dubai definitely is that. I
completely agree. I really admire the vision, as you said, and the ambition of Dubai and the UAE as a whole.
Yeah.
You've been involved in many key projects. I know the launch of Burj Khalifa was one of them. What would you say are some of the other key projects that you're most proud of?
I'm definitely proud of the opening of Burj Khalifa. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That was, you know, a massive live telecast that was done back in 2010. But more recently, live from Expo 2020, having a daily live show, 183 consecutive days. I mean, that was a mammoth project to be part of, but I'm really proud of it because I feel, you know, firstly, it's one that the whole world was watching, and every country had a stake and they wanted to see what Dubai was doing. But also the level of pressure involved with, putting on a daily show when things were changing on a daily basis. And when you're dealing with dignitaries and royalty and celebrities and everyone has a protocol to follow, for us to have successfully delivered that, I'm exceptionally proud of. And it continues. I mean, at the moment we're working with COP28, which is great. And we have, a daily live TV show on Dubai One. So there are a number of projects that mean a lot. And I really want to just strive to continue to grow and continue to attract projects on a similar level.
Your track record is exceptional. I was really excited to sit here with you as someone who, I guess also my day-to-day job is banking, but this is a passion of mine. And I've been following you for a while and admire all the work that you do.
Thank you.
So thanks again for joining us. Was there a time where you didn't think you'd reach where you are? Or there was a time when, you hit a brick wall and you thought, I don't know if I can do this anymore? And clearly you've persevered and overcome. Could you talk to us maybe about a time like that?
I hit brick walls all the time,
Okay.
and I think most people hit brick walls all the time. So I don't think it's right or fair to say, oh, everything's, hunky-dory, glory, sunshine. It isn't. It's difficult, and that you always, face challenges. And you have years where things aren't as, bright as other years. And especially for me, to be honest, when I started my business, because I know my strength is in production. I love TV. I love producing content. I know how to manage people. I know how to manage a show. I'm very good I learn a lot. So because I learn a lot, I come back with a whole bunch of ideas and, would like to think I'm quite innovative in that space. That's a completely different skill set to running a business. So I remember when I started my business, I had massive panic of like, okay, I know how to produce shows and produce content, but how do I get clients, or how do I sell, or how do I, and to be honest, most people think I'm an extrovert because I've forced myself to be out there. But I'm actually quite an introvert. I don't enjoy it, right? But I've had to teach myself to be an extrovert because that's what I need to do for my business. I need to be the face of my business. I need to be able to attract new clients and new work. So for me, it was a definite brick wall when I started my company because I was sitting there thinking, what next? And it just forced me to sign up to a lot of workshops, learn all the skills I needed to learn, join networking organizations. I'm very big in the networking space now because I've learned that it's your relationships that help you grow. So the more networking I do, the more people I meet, the more people I support, it goes in circles. It comes round, it comes all the way back round again. So I would definitely say knowing the difference between being great at what you do, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at selling it and running a business and learning the skills when you don't have them.
Okay, I love your honesty about hitting brick walls daily. I was looking for bruises. And
No. There's a lot of makeup. There's a lot of makeup on. There's a lot of bruises. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And I know at the start, when we was testing the sound quality, you used the word outstanding. I used the word remarkable. And you mentioned about getting your team to dance and I guess the importance of music. So I guess that might help at times as well.
Totally. So I'm a definite believer, especially in our industry. Our industry is not a 9-to-5 industry. Our industry is one where the best shot is golden hour, which is at sunrise and sunset, and you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're working very unconventional, unpopular hours. You're tired. Most of the time you're tired. You have to really love and enjoy what you do to be in this industry. And as a result, you do hit brick walls. It is tiring. There are challenges. So you need to be able to have moments in your day which uplift you, which kind of put you back on track and realize that there's a bigger picture here. And for me, I learned, and I'm going to give credit to Tony Robbins. I went to a Tony Robbins event and I'm big on learning and I follow a lot of his courses. And, every kind of 45 minutes on the hour, music blasted out, everyone was jumping up and down and you were hugging a neighbor and giving someone a high five and then you'd sit down and start writing notes again. And I came back and I was like, right, we need to do this in the office. So we came back and I was like, I made someone responsible for playing music every couple of hours and everyone would jump up and dance and they all thought I was crazy. Everyone still does think I'm crazy, but I don't care. I see how everyone smiles. It create such a big shift in them that it's worth it. And it's actually not even just for them, it's for me. I need to dance every day and shift the way I'm feeling. So the more outstanding I am and the more I put that energy out, it's really, it's part selfish. I kind of want to be surrounded by that energy as well, because that's what helps me stay positive.
Yeah. There's a saying, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And I think you're highlighting the importance of that, and you mentioned networking and learning, and that's definitely played a part, I think, for me as well. And what's interesting is what you mentioned about being an introvert, because a lot of people wouldn't think that of yourself. And I think that's the importance of sometimes that voice, there's a voice in your mind sometimes that says, I don't really want to do that, I don't want to go there, but you just have to just push through.
I'm going to say something that probably is going to sound really unpopular and maybe even rude. I never want to go anywhere, so I really don't, I really struggle to pull myself. I struggle to pull myself here, with all respect. I like you. I want to be here. But the effort and the energy to engage with people, if you're an introvert, you tend to be quite happy on your couch, and where I was before I came here. But you learn that you're not going to achieve anything by sitting on your couch. So the reason to go becomes greater than the reason to stay. And I think that's the real shift, at least for me. The shift was realizing that I'm starting a business. Business is not going to come in on its own. I can't afford to be an introvert. I can't afford to sit on my couch. I have to push myself out there for things to change. And then it was a slow shift where, in the beginning I used to just go for an hour. And I'm like, just meet 5 people and leave. And give myself mini goals. And I'm pretty decent at arriving somewhere and being very positive for short spurts of time and leaving. And I realized if that's what you need to do,
it works.
Do that, do that, but at least get out there slowly, meet people. And for me, I discovered BNI at the beginning of my business journey, which stands for Business Network International. And I learned so many skills because the difference with BNI is that you network with the same group of people every week. So over time, it's a bit like school for adults, so over time, it didn't feel like I was meeting new people. I was becoming familiar with them, and then they were becoming friends, and then they were becoming people that I could work with. And so that shifted my approach to networking and gave me more confidence to start doing it with groups I didn't know. And, I've been in business now 13 years, and I think I've definitely grown in that space. But when I think back, it wasn't easy. And I think for anyone who's just starting on that journey, you have to get over how you feel and realize that it's what you need. Okay. And that's the key thing. Understand the need.
Understand the need, yeah. And when it comes to setting goals, I always say to my audience, you really got to think about the why. What is the motive? Because that's what motivation comes from, is motive. What is the reason why you're doing something? I think you've highlighted that your why was more important than staying on the couch, like you said. And you've been extremely successful. You count many of the governmental and government-related entities as your clients. You've even worked with National Geographic, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
And some major global brands. So congratulations on all of that. What advice would you give someone who maybe actually doesn't really know what they want to do in media, but they know that they want to be involved in some shape or form?
I'm a massive believer of work experience and internships and traineeships, because that's how I started in this industry. And because I believe that that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for you to go into an organization and understand the roles, understand how they work, see where your interest lies from the ground up. And if you find an opportunity that you like, then that's where you can really excel, show them what you can offer and get a leg in. And obviously, if you've done a good job, there's a higher chance that they're going to want to recruit you and move you on forward in your career. So I'm the type of person who'd say, just go try it. Offer your services for free if necessary. It's more important to be in that environment, to learn and be in different environments. If you're unsure, then, and it's the media space, for example, then go intern at a radio station and go intern at a TV station and go intern in a private company, and until you figure out, which environment is the one that suits you. But maybe you're going to learn a bit from each of them. But until you go and try it, you're not really going to know, because what you learn at university doesn't even
Real world is
resemble.
so completely
It doesn't.
different.
It's not even funny. Like I remember, fortunately, because I was at the BBC at the same time as I was at uni, like literally the same time. I was at the BBC 3 days a week, and I was at university 2 days a week, and it was fascinating because we were using certain cameras at the BBC, and at university we were still like a version behind. So it really made me think I'm learning on equipment that isn't even being used in the real world. So how is this going to really set you up? So unless you actually go into a real life working environment, I don't know how you're going to be able to tell the difference.
So I guess qualification sometimes is maybe just the passport to get you through the door, but really the experience is what's going to let you fly.
I would go even further. Like I don't even ask for someone's CV. I don't see the point, for me personally, because it's such a practical industry. I'd rather see the work you've done. So if I'm going to hire someone, and I'd rather see something you've edited, something you've shot, something you've written. I want to actually see proof of the pudding and understand your skill set. And based on that, happy to hire. But CV, it doesn't make any difference to me what you studied or where you studied. Which means as a result, I've also hired people who haven't gone to university, and I've hired people who had no background in this industry but just happened to be very talented.
So I think personal branding plays a part as well.
Huge.
So if you say on your CV, for example, or verbally to someone, I'm good at something or I'm confident in this, you've got to have something to back it up. And I guess when you go to someone's Instagram page, you're expecting to see quality work and not just something that they've said they've done.
It's interesting you mention that, because I really strongly believe in personal branding. Like I really believe in it, whoever you are, because whether you're a business owner like myself, like some of the statistics are huge. I read recently that people are more likely to do business with the CEO, 73% more likely to do business with the CEO if they're following them on social media. So you've got all these CEOs who don't see the value in social media and think, oh, it's a whole waste of time. But there's a whole world of people who's consuming content, and because they're seeing you, they're building this relationship that you don't even know exists, and you're growing in credibility in their eyes, and therefore they're more likely to work with you. I'm here because you're following me on social media, and that's how we've connected. Yeah. I've had so many opportunities purely because I'm consistent with my social media content. So I really believe that it's so important to be visible right now. And that's as a business owner. But if you're looking to get into the industry, same thing. You know, the first thing I'm going to do is look at your social profile. And if you're trying to say that you're a great editor, a great photographer, I'm going to look at the content you've put out there. I'm going to put this out there because I get so many CVs from presenters. And that to me is a fascinating one because, to me, if you're trying to put yourself out as a presenter, then
words
you have
on paper.
But not just that, then you have a private Instagram page. I'm like, how is anyone ever going to find you if that's what you're doing online? So I think there's a lack of understanding that nowadays it's not just a social tool. Your social profiles are your resume, are your lead to the next opportunity. And it's really about how you position yourself and what you put out there that can attract the next opportunity.
And that goes, I guess, both for people and businesses.
Totally. So, I'm very, very conscious. And I think that's where there's a lot of confusion, because I see a lot of CEOs who think, oh, my company's doing this, but you know what? People connect with people. I'm very big on LinkedIn, and anyone who's on LinkedIn knows you're connecting as individuals. You're not connecting as companies. No one cares what I put on my company page. They want to see my page and what I put out there. So it is important. I'd also go one step further and say, oh, but does that mean everything needs to be professional? And I think it's a balance. I think you need that professionally produced content because you are speaking to brands and brands are looking at you. But you also need the more personal, authentic content because you're connecting with people. So it's having that balance of the two, because you just never know where things will go.
Yeah, and who's going to relate to what content. The challenge I find with LinkedIn, so I've been on LinkedIn for many years because of my banking background. And it's only recently I've started to share more personal things because I've always thought I need to keep it relating to my banking career. And I recently turned 40 and I went to New York and Jamaica. So I posted, turned 40, went to New York, Jamaica for the first. And people are actually connecting more with that more than I enjoyed attending so-and-so conference
Yeah.
and met clients and 1, 2, 3. So I still struggle at times because I just think, oh, is this more for Instagram than LinkedIn? But I'm trying to find a balance with
But
that.
I think things have changed. I think LinkedIn is now the Facebook of the professionals, you know. So, and I've had very similar experiences. So I'm originally from Libya, and I happened to post a couple of posts about being Libyan. Those are like my most popular posts. And what I find fascinating is, like, I posted something about 2 years ago. I went into a client meeting, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and the client goes, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You're from Libya, aren't you?" And I was like, yes. And it's just bizarre to me that that's what the client remembered, you know? So you never know. I love singing. I did a post about a singing group that I have. The number of people who came out the woodwork going, "Oh my God, didn't know you sang. Oh, how do I join? How do I?" And you kind of forget that at the end of it all, although LinkedIn is a professional platform, we're all personal individuals with interests, and sometimes that can be the base that connects you. So I would strongly advise anyone, you know, who's unsure about posting personal content out there, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You know, if anything, you're going to find new connections with people.
Yeah, and be confident in being authentic.
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge. I want to be professional, but you should still be authentic. And I think you're highlighting the importance of the personal connection.
Totally.
And when people connect with people. If someone needed some guidance, some advice in the world of branding and some of the topics that you've touched on, I believe you run some courses and you do some support in that area.
I do, yeah. We've got one very popular workshop called Level Up. I'm really passionate about this because, you know, as we've been discussing, for me, it's getting people on camera and getting people out there. And you'll find these amazing individuals who are experts in their field, but for whatever reason are just like maybe a bit shy, maybe they just avoid being on camera, maybe they're feeling a bit self-conscious. And I just want to, in one weekend, shake them and be like, no, you can do this. And we've had so many success stories of people coming in at the start of the weekend feeling super nervous. We help them kind of formulate their message, their script, give them a kind of presenting tips, get them on camera, and by the end of the weekend, they have a video. And just seeing people kind of just their transformation is amazing. So I'm really proud of that workshop. It's called Level Up. We used to do it on a monthly basis. I'm getting a bit busier now, so we do it quarterly. And then recently I launched another workshop because, as I mentioned, I get so many presenters reach out to me. So I thought, okay, well, let's create something that presenters can learn how to read from an auto cue or how to have talk back in their ear. So we had our first on-air boot camp a couple of months ago, and that went really well. So planning another one in a couple of months as well. So those are the two that I'm consistent with at the moment, and they've both had great results. And they're two slightly different audiences. You know, people who want to be in front of on TV and people who just need to build their confidence and take that first step on camera.
Excellent. I think I need to sign up maybe to both.
Absolutely.
So
let's have you there.
At some point. But thank you very much for today. This has been incredible.
Thank you.
And I really do appreciate the time that you've taken and all the advice and wisdom that you've shared. Some of the themes that stick out to me is the importance of starting from the bottom up, being willing just to learn and experience things, perseverance, learning. You're someone that thrives on learning, networking, making that personal connection. So yeah, just keep being the outstanding media professional and human being that you are. I look forward to continuing to follow your journey.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. And for anyone out there who may want any advice or questions, feel free to DM me. I'm always happy to support wherever I can. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Reem. And I want to thank all of you for listening to today's episode. Please remember to like, comment, and share. And that's it for now. Take care.